Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Eric here from Sergeant of Arms. Today, we've got Jeff, new R&D guy. He's been here since about January. On this video with us, we're going to talk about a new product that just came out for the 6 arcs. So first, before we get into that, I know we were doing videos pretty often, but we kind of stopped. We got real busy with bringing barrel production in-house so that we can get barrels turned out a whole lot faster and maintain the same quality, which we've been able to do. We're getting through that backlog pretty good right now. By the time you see this, the second lathe will be up and running. And also, we been working on a new video room off-site from the shop so that we can shoot better videos and do some reloading videos. So that will be coming here in the near future on reloading for gas guns. Today, we are going to talk about the new 6 arc brass that just came out from Alpha Munitions. Jeff, he did a lot of the testing and feedback for Alpha on this. So we were very lucky and privileged to be able to be one of the testers for this new product. As many have known, the industry's been wanting some high quality 6 arc brass since it came out. Hornady brass isn't horrible, but it's not Alpha. So we're going to talk about the new Alpha brass that just got released last week, answer some questions that I've seen people asking on different forums and posts and stuff like that. So, Jeff, let's talk about this brass. Like I said, you got to do pretty much all the testing. I did shoot a few rounds, but he did pretty much 99.9% of the testing and feedback for Alpha on this. So let's talk about this.
As with anything, it's an ongoing learning process too. I'm going to try to save you guys some initial headaches from learning. This is not a softy, crummy type brass. It is a hard brass base material, and it does not really expand well. Which means, not well, it doesn't expand easily. So if you got a gun that extracts early and you're belting cases and you're kind of tearing up stuff, I've tried to tune this wrong. I've tried to tune it right. I've tried to really just kind of mess it up, if that makes sense. And at 87 feet per second faster than factory ammo with a 109 hybrid, the biggest case web I have is 442. Like, I'm sure somebody out there will be dumb and try to put way too much powder in it and mess up a case or blow up a gun, because this does not show you pressure easily. It is a phenomenal brass. With that, the case necks, they don't take near as much neck tension as the Hornady or Starline. On this particular brass, I'm putting 2,000ths on a mandrel to get the bullets to seat well, and then just doing an ever so slight kiss of a crimp.
What crimp die are you running?
So just the Lee factory crimp die, it's like 11, 12, 13 bucks. It doesn't mess up anything. If you guys aren't crimping, not a big deal. Like, this brass will hold probably whatever bullet you chuck in it. But I'm learning, and while I'm going through a bunch of VLD type initial OJABs and a bunch of different things, I'm going to continue the exact same loading method that I've been doing for 4+ years on ARC. I mean, I got thousands of rounds of data on ARC and just learning. But long story short, the brass necks, you can run anywhere from 2 to 3.5 thou neck tension and just see what works best for you. You can probably go a little less if you're initially or crimping right afterwards. I would not get to a measurable crimp with this. It just doesn't take it. The crimp is so minimal, it's not even funny. I can't even measure it.
So it's literally just a kiss. It's not even a noticeable crimp on there. You're just basically touching, and that's about it.
And that's, I got a lot of loads that I do like that, and part of it just kind of makes me feel better. Especially when you're doing different mags and you're learning what gun your what mags your gun learns or likes. And It's a smart thing to do initially, and
Yep.
then try to figure out how it helps or doesn't. I know for a fact that I'm going to get a ton of people telling me, oh, don't crimp for precision. Well, that's fine. I mean, the last 2 years, the PRS gas gun has been one in the finale with crimped rounds, so I wouldn't sweat it.
Yeah, and it kind of comes down to on the crimping side of what does your gun like? What does your ammo like? What's your neck tension set at? Everything's different, so don't blanket statement of like, oh, he said crimp, and then crimp everything, because it's on the 6x47. I didn't crimp it.
Yeah, we never
Yeah,
even.
we never crimped that one. So that there's this reloading comes in, especially for a gas gun. There's no blanket statement for this.
Yeah.
So make sure just test that whether your gun likes a crimp or not. The 6 ARC kind of does, just because of the case design.
Yeah. Oh, this is another good point. So this brass is not weak sauce. If you just kind of kiss it with an internal chamfer, you're going to roll an edge and you'll scar a bullet going into it. So just take a little extra time on your initial internal chamfer. Just kind of clean it up, make sure it's a real good actual internal chamfer. I run a mandrel through the resize process, and then I trim chamfer deburr on the Henderson over there, and then as it's sitting on the Dillon, I run it back through a mandrel again. All that does is kind of give you the better opportunity to push down the marring that you could have on these necks, or any neck actually. I mean, that's just a really smart thing to do for any gas gun loading.
So one question I've seen right out the gate, a lot of people ask, internal case volume. Is it similar to like the Hornady and Starline, or is it different? I know Starline had a little bit less internal case volume than the Hornady did, but where does it kind of line up to like a Hornady case as far as internal case volume goes?
So I kind of blanket statement Hornady is a 34.1 grain internal case. That's just kind of grabbing different lots, checking them, having a little fun, seeing what they are over the last 4 years. The smallest Alpha case that I've measured is 33.98, and the largest was 34.08. I mean, you're within a tenth of a grain, and I have a far smaller ES on internal case volume than I've had on any other PPC type loading cartridge.
Yeah, that's pretty consistent case volume on that. So you're basically right there with Hornady.
Yep.
Which is good. It means Hornady's load data will track pretty well across the board.
That's a good point too. Yeah. My first outing with this, I did a little skittish because it's new brass. Like Starline's super finicky on being a reduced case. I just didn't know with this. So I loaded a long ladder. Let's just see what happens where the whole, like a grain under, was kind of a waste of time. But as soon as I got to about a half a grain under, I was at factory ammo velocities, which you guys all hand load too. That is not a thing that we've been able to do with basically anything else. So Levolution, I'm 0.6 grains under what my Hornady load is, and I'm should be right around 40 feet per second faster than what I'm getting out of the Hornady if I just
Factory ammo.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of times like you'll see that like, oh, I'm getting more speed out of this brass. Typically that means less case volume, you've got higher pressure, like you're hitting pressure because you're match speed for speed typically. But in the Alpha brass, that wasn't the case. It wasn't hitting the pressure. It was just the way the brass is made, and some of the technology that they went in, that Alpha did on this brass, makes it a faster. And this is the first time I've ever seen brass actually give you more speed because of its design and its material. Have you ever seen that with any other brass company out there?
Not at the same case volume.
Yeah.
You know, there's stainless steel cases, there's hybrid cases. They all have different volumes, and you can push them in different ways. This is just a straight up standard piece of brass that a good company made, and this is kind of what we're getting out of it. My assumption is it's probably got something to do with the density of the base brass material. Yeah. I don't have a way of checking Vickers hardness, nor, to be honest, do I actually like really care, because it turns into one of those, like, that's a product engineer discussion. Let them have at it. Those dudes are really smart.
And I know Alpha in the past, like all the brass that we've shot of Alpha, you know, we run Alpha in our 6 GTs, like that's 6 and 22 GTs. We've ran it in we've taken the 25, or we've made 6 or 25 by 47 brass out of some of their stuff. We've ran 6. Did they do a 6? Yeah, we've ran all kinds of stuff from Alpha. All been quality brass, especially once they came out with the OCD line. Been just exceptionally good. Tons of firings out of it. Didn't you have like a couple test pieces on this that you got up close to 10 firings, or was that on the?
So these are the 3. Sorry, I'm trying to find the ones that were, again, me playing games, because I like to play games and see what they do. These 4, what I did is, well, I started out with 5. I don't actually know where the 5th one is.
The brass gnomes.
Yeah. So what I did is I just kind of threw my standard load in it and was like, hey, I'm going to have at it. Now, mind you, out of an 18-inch barrel, this is at 2687 to 2692 with a 109 hybrid.
Yeah,
I've never been able to get over 2600 well in an 18-inch. So it's
not with that bullet.
No, this is smoking.
Yeah.
And even through the horrible timing learning curve that I had with the brass, because you can reduce the load, run a way lower pressure, the output of velocity will mean that you are at an equal pressure. But you're not tearing up anything. Like, it is phenomenal. I've got a couple with some swipes and some stamps, and that's after 10 firings and...
Not always a well-tuned gun.
Definitely not a well-tuned gun on some of them, playing games with different things. Actually, I'm going to go grab the caliper and see what these final measured at after 10 firings.
But yeah, it's, you know, we've had real good success with these. Went through a couple iterations of the brass with Alpha, and, you know, we try to put it through the worst case scenario so that the company gets the best feedback. You know, we don't want to just run it through a very well-tuned gun that's properly set up, because at low pressures, or maybe get to book max, because we know not everybody does that. We know there's a ton of untuned 6 arcs and grindles, because we sell the belt buster die, so we sell a bunch of those because a lot of those guns are not gassed properly or untuned right.
Or dies are wrong.
Or dies are wrong is another thing that we've seen with that. So, you know, we try to screw up our guns as far as how they're tuned and timed, so that we can give Alpha the best line of information that they can use. But, you know, Jeff worked with, like I said, their engineers and stuff. They seem like a really good company to work with. I know Tom's a really good dude.
Yeah, if you guys have never met like a brass company, I've met probably most all of them, and Tom is just an exceptional person. Even if it's wrong, he'll let you know. Super nice. That's 4425-4420.
Yeah, so even on 10 firings, we're, you know, not blowing out. I mean, normal Hornady factory ammo on a well-tuned gun still beats, you know, still gets in that 4.3
4.3 some,
yeah. 4.3, 4.25, like on a virgin load.
I'm pretending that I can measure 4.4216
Yeah.
with a caliper, but
Yeah,
it's really close to that, and that's 10 of them.
So
just hammering away.
I know the most loads I've gotten out of a piece of factory Hornady, including the factory load, was 7.
Okay.
And at that point in time, like, primers start falling out.
Finish half your load in the Dillon, and some
Yeah.
of them, like you go
Yeah.
to load the case and
Or you find your
man.
primer sitting in your loading tray. Had a couple that did some case head separation stuff around that 7-ish, 6, 7 firing. To get 10, and most of my brass I was fairly easy on. Wasn't really pushing the numbers real hard on it. And to get 10 out of this and it's still going, I know a lot of guys were talking about some pricing. Yes, it is. It's not cheap, but it's not cheap to make. It's not like they're making it at the same quality as cheaper brass and just upcharging everything because it is. That they have a good reputation. Their quality and the material and the time and engineering that goes into it is what runs the cost up. So if you want brass that's going to last for a long time, Alpha is going to be the way to go. I mean, we'll be running this pretty much from here on out. I will once hunting season rolls around, that's the brass I'll be running. I'll be running Alpha. The Hornady stuff, it's not bad brass, but it's not gonna last forever.
I'm hoping this is 3400 out of my little 18 just for fun.
Yeah, little 58 grainer.
And this is, I mean, temp stable powder as you get.
Benchmark.
48.95.
Oh, 48.95. Okay.
This kind of chuckles.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to bother telling you how many grains, but I had to hold the bullet to seat it. We'll see how that pans out.
Yeah. But if you have any questions about the Alpha brass, feel free to reach out to us. Like I said, Jeff has a ton of knowledge on this. I have very little. I didn't get the time to do a lot of the testing with Jeff on this, which hopefully after we get caught up on barrels, we'll be able to do some more testing. So that's eating up a lot of our time right now. Or contact Alpha. They seem like have a great customer service. They answer questions. I see Tom on Facebook groups all the time talking about stuff. And also another thing that I have seen a ton of, and I'm one of those that have made this comment, when's 22 arc brass coming, Alpha? So,
me too.
Yeah. So we've already asked Alpha for that, but Alpha is a company that if they see the market wants it, they will make it. I mean, they did. That's how most of their brasses come about here recently. Like 22 GT. A couple guys on the GT forum asked for it, and next thing you know, Alpha was making it. Same way with the 25x47 just recently. He did a small run of that because enough people had asked for it. So if you just shoot them an email, stuff like that. Hey, we'd like to see 22 arc brass. Make a Facebook comment or whatever on their post. We'd like to see 22 arc brass next. They will get to it. They already have the base cut figured out, so probably won't be real hard for them to do. Maybe some tooling changes, but I expect to see 22 arc in the very near future from Alpha. So hopefully have that by hunting season. That'd be awfully nice.
Yeah.
But said, if you have any questions, stuff like that, reach out to us. Myself or Jeff will answer those questions for you. If I can. If I can't, I'll just pass it on to Jeff or ask him, and I'll just type in his reply or whatever. So appreciate y'all tuning into this. We're really excited for this new brass cut hitting the market. I know a bunch of you all bought it. I think it sold out pretty fast. If it didn't, a lot of it got bought up pretty quick. I know they made a bunch of it too. So like I said, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed this short video on the new Alpha brass, and we will be doing some more videos coming up soon, especially with some reloading stuff. So till next time, see y'all on the range.